Om Shanti. We have been using this word a lot, right? Om Shanti. And we also know the meaning of that. Since the beginning of the yajna, this word Om is being used. And before coming to this word of Om Shanti, everyone in this organization chanted this Om. And that's why this organization was called as Om Mandali, because everyone chanted this word Om. And even in the Hindu religion, might be it's in Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism, this word holds a lot of significance, you know. So I would like to first talk about the religious significance of this, and then come to why Baba emphasized on this word of Om Shanti, or stabilizing in that consciousness of being a soul. It's not working properly? Okay. Sanjay bhai? Is it okay now? No? Okay? Yeah. Okay, 91 is Tamil, 93 is Spanish, 96 is Portuguese. Okay, so you can tune your FMs to these frequencies. 91 is Tamil, 93 is Spanish, 96 is Portuguese. Okay? Okay. So the significance of Om, right? Baba has been talking about soul consciousness, and he talks about that in every Murli. Consider yourself to be a soul and remember me. To make this meditation or to make this yoga powerful, the first foundation, to have that proper link with Baba, the first foundation is to stabilize in soul conscious stage, right? To stabilize in soul conscious stage is nothing but Om, right? Om is I am, and Shanti is peaceful. So I am a peaceful soul. So even in the religious scriptures of various religions, whether it's in Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, or other religions as well, there's a lot of significance of this word Om. It is considered to be a sacred mantra. And many of the mantras that are being chanted in Hinduism either starts with Om or ends with Om. There's word Om in between. The famous mantra that usually people use is Om Namah Shivaya. I, the soul, salute to Shiva. So in that way, there are many other mantras in Hinduism that this word is being used a lot. And they say that this word is a universal word. This word is a basic word. And usually when we write Om Shanti, we write as OM, Om Shanti, right? But the actual, the writing goes as AUM, Om. So when we chant Om, usually Dadi Janki makes us to chant this Om. And it creates beautiful vibrations as well. It reverberates into the atmosphere, and it creates that vibration in the atmosphere, that particular word of Om. It's not only a word, but it creates powerful vibration as well, right? So usually when we chant Om, how do we chant? You know how to chant, right? You know how to say that word Om. How do you say that? Okay. Do you think it's right? That's the right way of chanting Om? Huh? Okay, you are chanting as OM. When you are chanting Om, you are chanting it as OM, Om, right? The right way of chanting Om is AUM. So now, can you chant that? Yes. Om. All these three words should come. AUM. And there is there's a spiritual significance, there's a religious significance, and also health benefits of chanting this Om. Religiously, they say that, A is Brahma, U is Vishnu, and M is Shankar, one who is the creator, the sustainer, and the destroyer. And we all know who is that, right? We the souls, each one of us are the creators, are the sustainers, and then the destroyers, or we can say transformers, right? So all the three activities we the souls do. And another interpretation of Om is, A is Acharan, the one who does that activity, karma. karma, who does the karma. And U is Ucharan, one who speaks. And Ma is Mansa, one who thinks. So one who do the activities, speak the words, and thinks. And that is nothing but a soul, right? So there are many, many interpretations of Om in scriptures, all complications. But now, when we come to the essence of that, we know what all that is, right? And this word, Om, is, nowadays, in late, I think few years ago, one or 1.5 years ago, I was going through a journal and they said that the sun, the sun is, when it is radiating these rays of, the word Om is coming from that as well, Some of the scientists also have identified this. That's why it is called as universal word, Om, which gives life. The one which gives life means soul. Soul is a living entity of the world, right? And that's the one who creates that energy of life. So when Baba says that we have to stabilize in that consciousness of being Om or being a soul, so how far are we able to do that? How far are we able to do that? Huh? Okay, considering just thinking that I am a soul, I'm a point of light, residing in the middle of the forehead is something, just thinking. But visualizing that, realizing that is much more important, right? So that's why we say in meditation, along with thinking, we need to visualize, right? So let us for a few minutes, stabilize in that consciousness of being a soul. Stabilizing in that consciousness of being a soul means, not just thinking, but then experiencing it, feeling it. Feeling that energy from the middle of my brain. We say that soul is point of light. A tiny point of light, right? But can we visualize that tiny point of light? Can we experience it? Can we feel it here? Can we feel it here? Yes? So let us feel it, experience it in the middle of the forehead. I, the point of light, sitting in the middle of my forehead, is radiating that energy. Try to feel it. Try to experience it. As I experience myself to be a point of light, my energy expands. My consciousness becomes much more subtle, much more lighter, much more powerful. Om Shanti. Were you able to experience it? Yes? So Baba wants us to experience this in between during the day as just being a point of light. When we experience this, what happens? What is it that happens? There are many benefits that we get when we stabilize ourselves in the true essence of Om. What is it that happens first? We feel light. Yes. The first thing that happens is anything else? What is it that happens? Remove body consciousness, yes. Less thoughts. The first thing for me, like I'm stabilizing in my proper identity, right? Until now, I had a different identity which was false. But the true, original identity, I'm stabilizing in that. So when I stabilize in my true, original identity, I get rid of all other false identities that I was recognizing myself with, right? I was recognizing myself with body consciousness, with my name, form, nationality, citizen, whatever it is, religion. So I move beyond all these things when I stabilize in my true, original identity. I become free from all those things. I become free from the gross. Right? I experience my own true identity. So when I experience my true identity, the next thing that happens is, what is it that next thing happens? Yes. The next thing that happens is detachment. Yes. I get detached from the gross. I did get detached from the body. I did get detached from the world around me. So is this detachment a forced detachment? Or is it a detachment out of, out of love, out of, the energy that I'm experiencing, out of that pull of spirituality, out of pull of that one's own identity? Is it forceful or it becomes natural? It becomes natural, right? So when I become introvert and stabilize in that consciousness and start to enjoy that, when I start to enjoy, detachment becomes easy. When I'm struggling, detachment doesn't happen. Many times when we give talks to the non-BKs and all, they say that, stabilizing in that soul consciousness is very difficult. And what about the BKs? What about the BKs? What do they say? Is it easy? Yeah? Some heads are going like this and some heads are going like this. It's easy. It's easy, right? So when we are in a good state of mind, it's easy. When we are in a bad mood, when we are under stress, when we are under tension, there's a lot of heaviness here and it becomes so much difficult to, detach ourselves. So why that tension comes is because we have not enough practice of detachment, not enough practice of soul consciousness. Few years ago, like there was a lot of activities going on in a lot of conferences and things like that. I was busy with all this coordination and things like that, and I felt drained out. And I came to the office and sat there, and there was a senior sister sitting there, and I said, I feel drained out. They were so busy working all these days, and I feel mentally drained out. I don't have energy. Then she said, just for few seconds, just for 1 minute, detach yourself and stabilize in that soul conscious stage, and you'll be energized again. I practiced that, and it was a miracle. It was a miracle, and I gained that energy in few minutes. The drainage is not of the body, but the drainage is of the soul. Why? The drainage is because throughout the day we are work conscious. Maybe we are not so much body conscious, but we are work conscious, right? Sometimes we become body conscious as well, but we are more work conscious. So in between, why that Baba has made this, traffic control. It's the best rule, like it's the best practice for us. In between, just detach and stabilize in that soul conscious stage just for a minute, and then I get energized automatically. So that detachment has to happen, has to be practiced often, and then soul can regain that energy and maintain that energy constantly throughout the day. Of course, in the morning we practice that, but during the day then it tends to get drained out. But in between we need to practice that, so that really regains that energy of the soul. So when I stabilize in that energy, that detachment, then what happens? Becomes stronger. Stronger in this sense? In other words, what can we say? First is identification, that identity. I stabilize in that identity of soul consciousness, true original identity, and then I get detached from the body consciousness, and then I experience being the master. Unless if I'm attached to this body, I can't experience myself to be a master. I have to detach myself, look at the body, and then experience myself to be the master. Baba says, experience yourself to be a self-sovereignty, Swarajya Adhikari, right? And Baba practiced this. Every day at night, he used to have that court of mind, intellect and sanskar, and he used to talk to them, and he used to check, right? So being the master, that is the main thing that we have to practice now. Many times we just do what we don't have to do, or we don't want to do sometimes. We become subservients of our own sense organs. Maybe being a BK for a little bit longer time, we don't become subservients of our physical organs, but sometimes we become subservients of our sanskaras, subservience of our mind, of our intellect, of our subtle organs, right? But amongst the physical organs as well, Baba says, the most sensitive organ out of the 5 organs is eyes. Baba says, आपके आँख कहीं डूबना नहीं चाहिए. Your eyes should not get engrossed in anything. Subtle pull also of the eyes is like becoming subservient of the eyes. That is the most subtle, more powerful also. Whatever we see through these eyes, we get attracted. we get, whatever, the thoughts starts to raise. Thoughts starts to come in our mind according to what we see. Mama was very powerful, right? So you must have heard about her incidents, how she was the master of her own self. Once, I think you have heard about this incident. Ramesh Bhai was taking her in Bombay in a car, and there was a big hoarding. I think in those days that was a new technology, the new neon board. Nowadays everywhere it's there, but then it was a new technology which it had come, and that was the first board erected in Bombay, neon lights board thing, hoarding. And as the car passed, Ramesh Bhai asked Mama, did you see that board, that hoarding? It was so beautiful, so we can use that for our service. Mama said, no, I didn't see. Then Ramesh Bhai asked, why did you see? It was so big. How could you avoid it? If something is so big and huge and so, lot of lights coming up, like you can't miss it. So Ramesh Bhai asked, how could you miss it? It was so huge. Mama said, no. For me, Baba and Baba's world, Baba's children are the world. So nothing other than this is important to me. So she knew what to see and what not to see. She was that master. She was that, So of course, we can't become like her, maybe. But at least, Baba sometimes say that while seeing, don't see. Right? Even we are seeing, but the impact of that is not on the mind. That's why Baba says, you have to have, Baba asks us to do open eye meditation. Many people ask, but meditation we usually do with closed eyes, no? But Baba wants us to do with open eyes. Why is that? Why is that? To become the masters of our eyes. If we close our eyes, okay, we don't see the world. Okay. But even whilst seeing, can I be detached from whatever scenes I am looking at? That is the most powerful thing, right? Not to see is one thing, but even whilst looking, even whilst seeing, I'm not engrossed, that impact is not there, or I'm not engrossed in it. To become the master of our own senses, Baba is teaching us. To stabilize in that consciousness of being the master. Master of my own senses, master of my thoughts, my intellect and my sanskaras as well. When I stabilize in that consciousness of being a master, then I'm in a powerful stage. Then whatever decisions I would take would be powerful. Right? So when I stabilize in that consciousness of being a master, so the next thing that happens is I experience that eternity. I, the soul, when I stabilize in that consciousness of soul, a master, then I'm detached, then I experience that eternity. I'm not attached to this particular life, this particular birth, this particular body, but I, the soul, is eternal. That's a beautiful experience, right? I'm an eternal being which doesn't have any death, always alive. And I become unlimited, eternal and unlimited. A few years ago, Baba wanted us to practice this 5 forms. Brahmin form, angelic form, the soul, the Paramdham, soul world, and then golden age, and then worship worthy form, right? We go around the cycle and experience all the 5 forms. So when we experience all the 5 forms, what is it that happens to the soul? What is it that happens? Baba had asked us to experience at least 8 times a day. Some people here, they practiced it for, like 20 times, 25 times a day. They had beautiful experiences. Now, when we go around the cycle in our intellects again and again, that eternity of the soul comes. We can experience that eternity. So when we experience that eternity of the soul, then we are not attached to this birth. Just before this birth, I was in another body, right? Whether it was a male body or a female body, I don't know. But the soul has that experience. And before that, it's another body. Before that, it's another body. So when I experience that, go into that consciousness, it's easy for me to get detached from this body. And experiencing that eternity, it's a beautiful experience. Going beyond the body and going beyond this world. Just visualize being in that universe, universe where there are a lot of planets around, and the soul is sitting there in the subtle region and looking at the whole universe. And when I'm looking at the whole universe, it's like the earth is so small. The earth is so, and Mount Abu, we can't even see, right? So when I experience that eternity, what happens? When we experience that eternity, what happens? Our problems in life seems to be very small. Very small, no? Otherwise, when we are stuck in this birth, when our intellect is stuck into this, all the day-to-day routine, so even small problems seems very big. But then when I experience that detachment and go to Paramdham and see the whole thing, then I realize this is just a part of life. This is just one part of many births that I have taken, So then it becomes easy for us to take everything easily. We don't take things, all the problems seriously. And it's easy for us to cope up with those things. When we consider ourselves to be the guests, Baba says, no? When you consider ourselves to be guests, it's easy for you to deal with the things, to adjust with the things. So when I am in a more bigger picture, when I'm having a more bigger picture, these small things, small problems are nothing. It's just a part of life. It comes and goes. It comes and goes. I become very light. I become very easy. Because one is that I'm up above in that consciousness of eternity. And another thing is I'm with Baba. I'm with Baba. Right? The more both energies combined, I become very powerful. So then everything becomes smooth. And this is nothing but Jivan Mukti, right? Jivan Mukti is liberation in life. Living the life of a liberation. Experiencing liberation, but in this body. Experiencing the stage, what I experience in Paramdham. In Paramdham, what is the stage that we experience? In Paramdham, what is the stage that we experience? Total liberation. No attachments. total freedom. I'm just a point of light, totally free, totally liberated from everything. So that stage I can experience in this body. In this, that is called as liberation in life. And that is the gift of Brahmin life. No one other than we, Brahmins, can experience this stage of liberation in life other than no one else can experience this. Only we can experience. That is a gift that Baba gives us. And when we experience that eternity and that liberation, and all the three things that Baba says, Trinetri, Trikaldarshi and Trilokinath. We have that third eye of that consciousness of being a soul, and then we know all the three aspects of time, the past, present, and future, and also the three worlds. So the intellect becomes unlimited. When the intellect becomes unlimited, to accommodate anything, to accommodate or adjust with anything is very much easy. Right? So this is the deep significance. And knowledge-wise, we know everything, right? We know all these things. Whatever I told you, it was not something very new. But the thing is, the challenge is practice. Being aware of that point and to practice it. That's the challenge. And every day in the Murli, Baba repeats the same thing many times. Consider yourself to be a soul, consider yourself to be a soul, because that is a thing that we don't practice. We know that we are souls. Like, even in the outside world, many of the people, they know they are souls. Who are non-Brahmins, non-BKs, they know they are souls, but they can't stabilize in that consciousness. Right? But we know how to stabilize in that consciousness, but then we lack practice. We lack practice. So practice makes the man perfect. Again and again we have to understand, be in that awareness of being a soul. And then the next step Baba says, look at others also as souls. Not only me, not only I am a soul, but look at others also as a soul. Can you see the sparkling light on others' forehead? What do Baba mean by saying that look at others as a soul? To see the sparkling light in the middle of the forehead? Huh? Understanding. To look at others in that awareness. Obviously, we can't see the sparkling light, right? But to be in that awareness that this person is also a soul, right? So when we come to the Brahmin family, to look at the BKs as a soul is easier. Right? Right? Because that person is also meditating, I am also meditating, and sometimes we are then it's like looking at each other as a soul, and not looking at in that awareness of being a soul is easier. But to look at the Laukic people as a soul, is it possible? Yeah? It's a great difficult. We have to practice that as well, right? We have to practice that. Looking at the Laukic people also as a point of light, as a soul. Yeah? We have to practice that. Maybe that person is not aware of it, but I'm aware of it. So as soon as I'm aware of it, that this person is also a soul, automatically many things change. Right? Just experience whenever you have, tough time with that person, or, tough, just shift your consciousness. When you're having a little bit fight with that person, or, that person is also a soul. Just shifting that consciousness cools many things down. We start to accept each other, accept the sanskaras. Why does that happen? Why does that happen? Have you ever experimented with this? If some, the sanskara is not going on well, and just shifting the consciousness, okay, this person is also a soul. Huh? How does that happen? Everything, why does that cools down? Huh? Karmic account. We come to realize the karmic account. Okay. Yes. Connecting with that energy. I, the energy, connecting with that energy, I'm giving that positive energy to that energy, that soul. So automatically, it might be, it doesn't happen in a second or 2 seconds, but gradually that cools down, because I'm giving that positive energy. I'm connecting that energy to that energy. So then that flow of energy is happening, and then gradually, within few minutes, everything comes down, everything cools down, everything starts to settle down. So the best solution to all problems, and the only solution to all problems is don't you think so? Yeah. Whether there is, not think of sanskaras are not meeting well, or there is misunderstanding, some quarrels, some fights, some attachments, or some, there's lots of pulls and pushes happening with the souls. So the best solution to all the problems is soul consciousness, right? Stabilizing in that stage and looking at others also as souls. Okay. Now, looking at others as soul in your workplace, okay, that we can understand, we can do it, right? Now let us come to your Lockic home. Can you look at your parents, at your kids as souls? Yes? No? Huh? We can, right? We can. To consider ourselves to be soul, it's easier. To look at the BKs as souls, it was easier. Now we start to practice to look at the Lockic people, my friends, or office people. That's also big. Then now Lockic people. Because that they are the people with whom we have more, yes, karmic accounts, right? So now, can we look at them as souls, right? So if we practice that, many things will become easier. Many expectations will reduce. Many clashes of sanskaras will reduce. Detachment becomes easier. Acceptance of those people as they are becomes easier. Yeah. Because the Lockic relationship is much more deeper, right? And that's why we are not able to detach ourselves from that relationship. So once when I look at that person as a soul, Just like I the soul have my own journey of 84 births, that soul also has its own journey, right? So when I look at that person individually, not attaching myself with that person, not the relation, I'm not looking at the physical relationship that I'm having with that person, but independently as a soul. I independently am a soul, that person independently is a soul. So then detachment becomes easier and the relationship with that person becomes much more cordial and powerful. Right? Because of the attachment, many expectations are there, many clashes of sense, many things happen, fights and all those happens. So detachment only happens only when I stabilize in soul conscious and look at others as souls. This is a very powerful tool, right? And this is the first lesson, and this is the last lesson also. Only thing that is, we have to practice that again and again. Looking at myself as a soul, others as a soul, and everyone, even non-BKs as souls, because they are also Shiv Baba's children, right? Whether they identify it or not, they are also Shiv Baba's children. So when I give that energy, then everything becomes much more easier, powerful and cordial. So this is a real meaning of Om, to stabilize in that consciousness of Om. Okay? So do you have any questions? Yes, brother.
I have an observation and a question
Yes.
together.
Yes.
I mean, clearly for me,
Yeah.
considering myself to be in a scenario where there is war, fighting, and a lot of lives are being lost. And what's the direction is reduced and we see that life. How does the soul react with whatever we have heard from you?
Whatever we are.
Whatever we have heard from you and you have shared with the soul in a particular situation, how does the soul react and deal with such a situation, like being a witness to these wars, these fights, and these lives being lost? I don't know whether I'm putting this question right to you.
Yeah, understood it.
Just give us a
Yeah, understood it. Yeah. According to the knowledge that Baba gives us, the way to respond to it, we don't use the word react, right? React is something negative. The way to respond to it is being merciful and being in that powerful stage, being with Baba, give them that energy. Baba says of Sakash, no? Baba's words, it's Sakash, giving that energy to the souls who have become the victims, to have that courage to face the situations. That's the only thing that we can do, right? Physically, might be we can help them to some extent, because if we have certain resources, we can help them. But otherwise, if we don't have the resources, the only thing that we can do is give that energy to the soul to face the situations, right? And this can be done only by Brahmin souls. because we are the ancestors of the whole kalpa tree. We are in the trunk, we are in the roots. So when we become powerful and we radiate those powerful vibrations, that impacts the whole kalpa tree. We are not just giving the Sakash to one section of the society, but to the whole kalpa tree. Right? So we have to practice doing Mansa Seva. Service to the mind. That is very powerful. So only we can do that. So we have to do that. Right? So having mercy for the souls, and at the same time, it's not just, sympathy, but it's empathy. Just trying to uplift them with that energy. Making them capable enough to cope up with those situations. Spreading those powerful vibrations to the souls and to the atmosphere. That is our role as being Baba's children. And that's a great responsibility that we have. Because when we see ourselves as whole Baba's children, when we were Satopradhan, world was Satopradhan. When we were Rajopradhan, the world was Rajopradhan. When we became Tamopradhan, world became Tamopradhan. The whole world is based on our stage. Right? So, there's a responsibility that we have. Any other question? Yeah. Yeah, please, sister.
I think your topic is very, very deep and interesting. I'm going to ask you to give the wife to experience the soul.
Yes.
Feeling.
Yes.
Very interesting, not just thought.
Not just thought, but feeling and experiencing it. Yes, that is very much important. Very much important. Yeah.
What comes first, the thought or the feeling?
Hmm?
What comes first, the thought or the feeling?
What is it according to you?
To be the thought. I choose to have this feeling.
Okay, she's asking, is it the feeling that comes first or the thought that comes first? What do you say? Thoughts? According to you, it's thought? Okay.
Or if it's like a sort of reflex feeling that just comes like that,
Mm-hmm.
direct my thought to stop the feeling and change.
Okay. Let me tell you, when it is a sanskara, it's always the feeling which comes first. Just like, to get angry, somebody told something that triggers you, right? At that time, does the feeling comes first or thought comes first? In this situation, is it the feeling which comes first or the thought which comes first? Feeling. The feeling of anger is triggered, and then the thoughts come. Why did you do this? All those thoughts come. Because it's the impact of the sanskara of anger is there. So that's why the feeling was triggered. And then the thoughts come. Right? So if the sanskara is like that, I will have to change my sanskara, right? So then I will have to create the thought to change the feeling. How am I going to change the feeling? To create the thought and then change the feeling. I can't change the feeling first, right? I have the sanskar of anger, I have the sanskar of arrogance, I have the thing. So now in meditation, to change the sanskar, what I do? Create the thought of peace. When I create the thought of peace, then I get the feeling of peace. I experience peace. Okay? So when I experience peace, that becomes deeper and that goes into sanskara. Gradually my sanskaras get transformed. You get it? Yeah. Baba says of having good wishes and pure feelings. Whenever we are going around, look at others, if I have bad feeling, just immediately change your thoughts. When I change my thoughts, my feelings automatically change. So we need to have that pure feeling for everyone, and that is a measure that we can have. If I'm having little bit of negative feeling or little bit of waste feeling, immediately I need to change my thoughts, and then my feelings can be changed. We need to have that pure feelings towards everyone constantly. And the last thing that I want to add for soul consciousness is, stabilizing in that soul consciousness, but also experiencing those different qualities of the soul. I'm not just a soul, a divine soul, but also filled with all the 7 original qualities. Right? We know what those seven qualities are of the soul. Right? What are they? Peace. Peace, purity, power, love, knowledge, bliss, happiness. Right? So experiencing all these 7 qualities of the soul will make the soul complete by itself. Every day experiencing different qualities. Yeah? Not just being a soul, but a peaceful soul, a happy soul, a blissful soul, powerful soul. Yeah? So experiencing those qualities makes the soul full and complete. Right? And then we can radiate those qualities to everyone around us. Yeah? And this is a foundation for meditation. Many people say, no, I can't have connection with Baba. I can't experience the relationship with Baba. Something is wrong, right? What is it? I'm not able to stabilize in that soul conscious stage. Once I stabilize in that soul conscious stage, Baba pulls me. No, it's easy to have that connection with Baba. Why am I not able to connect with Baba? It's because there's some problem in stabilizing in soul conscious stage. Right? So we have to work on that first. When we become perfect in that, then automatically we get connection with Baba. Right? Yeah. Okay. So you have any other questions, or should we finish? Or? Yes.
With all the theory that we have given, if the other soul is so negative,
Mm-hmm.
energy is so negative, and I think my good wishes and good feeling is not that strong enough, then I avoid it.
Okay. If other person is very negative, other soul is very negative, was the
Few feeling and good wishes are not strong enough against the negativity.
uh-huh.
So better I avoid rather than being with this one.
So it's better to have be negative.
Better I avoid.
Better avoid the soul. Yeah, that's a good thing, to avoid the soul. Because, like instead of, if we are able to avoid, it's well and good. Sometimes we can't avoid. We have to see that person day in and day out. Right? So then, how can you avoid? In a big campus like this, it's easy to avoid. But you are living in the same house, just a small place. You have to you bump into each other all the time. So then, powerful Amrit Vela. Yes. Constant good wishes is very much necessary. And one thing that we need to believe is positivity is much, much, much more powerful than negativity. So, but then what happens is, when we are in a good mood, we have all good wishes for that soul. Oh, Baba has said that, Baba has said like this, I should give good wishes for that soul. I'm in a good mood, I give good wishes. And in a bad mood, again I shift into that negative frequency. Then good mood, positive, negative, and towards the end of the day, what is the result? Net result of the whole day? Neutral. Zero. Because positive nullified the negative nullified the positive. Right? Towards the end of the day, the net result is zero. So then I say, oh, for many years I have been having good wishes for that person. That person is not changing at all. Is it a problem in my good wishes? Or is it a problem with the sanskar of that person? My good wishes, right? So Baba says constant good wishes. Constant. So anytime we have negative, then again it nullifies it. Right? So then constant we need to have. And patience. Second thing is patience. We start to count the days. Oh, from these many days I have been giving good wishes. These many days I have been meditating. And we become restless. Sometimes it works. Drama works with its own pace. Right? Having patience. And constantly having good wishes. Always we have to take Baba with us. Not doing alone. Yeah. There's one hand going up there. Yeah. It's not only for the people who are doing job, but it's for everyone. Right? It's a challenge to maintain that zeal and enthusiasm all the time. To maintain zeal and enthusiasm, we need variety. Anything which becomes a routine, it becomes boring. Right? We need variety. So if you love rasgulla, if you're fed rasgulla every day, eat 10 rasgullas every day, 20, 50. After 2 days, what happens? Buzz. Looking at rasgulla, run away. You want change. Even the tongue wants change. Mind always wants change. Right? So you need to look out for variety. Do different things. Experience different things. Not only just, I am a soul, Shiva Baba is my father. Even in meditation, experiment with different things. And the next thing is service. Give, and give. When you start to give, the energy starts to flow. When we don't give, the energy becomes stagnant. So when energy becomes stagnant, then the energy blocks. And then we're getting bored and all that energy comes down. So when we constantly take from Baba and give, That's why Baba says, no, do service. When you can't do service through your words, do service through your mind. When your body can't do many things, when your body is not healthy enough, or you can always do mansa seva through your mind. So giving, service will increase zeal and enthusiasm. Yeah? Any variety of service. Karma, through our karma yoga, or words, or through our mind. Any types of just giving will increase our zeal and enthusiasm. Okay.
Om Shanti. Thank you very much, Sister Suman. It was indeed very enlightening and experiential. I guess we should take these points and reflect on that. And all the questions have been answered with the word Om, and have a great journey. Om Shanti.
So towards the end, let us chant Om for 5 times. You want 3 times, 5 times, anytime, okay? Properly, right? A-U Om, M. Properly, not O-M, okay? Oh, many doctors also say if you chant this Om in this way for at least few minutes every day, many of your diseases will be healed, especially connected with your brain. Any depression, tension, any types of, any disorders in the body, gets healed very easily when you chant. And especially if you have chronic diseases, half an hour every morning, if you chant this Om, can become free from many of the diseases, they say. Sleep disorders also, yeah. Yeah. Okay, just 1 minute of silence and then we'll finish this.